loose and they're coming for us.
Who?
I've talked a lot about Adventure Time and its relationship to horror quite frequently on this channel, but obviously Adventure Time isn't a horror show. I feel it's a show about life, growth, and experimentation, especially experimentation. Due to this emphasis on experimentation, not one episode feels similar to another, each being distinct in their own way, even with the two-parter episodes. During my hunt for more Adventure Time episodes that I could talk about, I found perhaps one of its most experimental and quite surrealist episodes, and with a show like this, that's saying a lot. It captured the strangeness, the anxiety, and overall chaos of a dream, or rather, a nightmare. I am of course talking about the episode King Worm. But before we discuss the episode, let me provide you with a little background. Now, show creator Pendleton Ward had an objective in mind with this episode, to go beyond the usual weirdness and take it up a notch. Searching for inspiration, Steve Wolfhard, Somville Xylophone, and Bert Ewan, they found their answer in the classic YouTube poops because of their rather absurd and random nature, which Ward enjoyed so much that he wanted it to be implemented in the episode. I didn't know that when I first watched the episode as a kid, but after a rewatch, it actually explains a lot in my opinion. Now, with that explanation out of the way, let us discuss the episode King Worm. Now, like a lot of dreams, the episode opens in media res, or in the middle if you haven't read Paradise Lost. But anyways, the episode opens with Finn waking up married to Princess Bubblegum and finds himself king of the Candy Kingdom, with reality distorting around him. He wonders how he got there and what's going on. Then, he notices a familiar face, a worm, which then flees. Then Princess Bubblegum's face moves to her back and tells Peppermint Butler that Finn doesn't know he's dreaming. Confused but somewhat more aware, he finds himself being fed by Flame Princess in the middle of the forest, which then turns to the inside of the treehouse. Then Flame Princess turns into Peppermint Butler, and the spoon that she was holding turns into the same worm from before. Peppermint Butler warns Finn that he is currently trapped in a dream, and the only way out is to find the same worm and break it. Otherwise, he would be trapped forever. Finn tells him he currently has the worm in his hand, but just turns back into a spoon. Then reality distorts once again, and Finn finds himself looking out a window at Jake trying to tape a gift with Lady Rainicorn speaking in slow English and shooting tape out of a second mouth. Lady Rainicorn then hands Jake his viola and asks him to play some music. As he plays, a music note appears and turns into the worm. Finn then chases after the worm, but slips through a hole in the wall. Jake sees Finn and tests that it's really him by pinching him, just to make sure he's real. Both he and Finn realize that they're in a linked dreamscape. Finn explains that they have to find the worm and break it to escape the dream, and comes up with an idea. Since it's his dream, he can control the reality. He then conjures a sword that's able to bust down the wall, but it turns into a shark after he lets his fears pop into his brain. Jake explains that his fears mess up the dreamscape, causing it to break. Jake suggests that Finn shrinks down like him, and they both go through the hole. As they crawl through the hole, Finn asks Jake how he's so knowledgeable about the dreamscape, to which he replies it's due to his enjoyment of naps. They both get out of the hole and find themselves in a field with Ice King being chased by a combination of Gunther Titans. As they run, they find themselves in the woods with their dad just knitting a scarf silently. Then the scarf forms into the worm, which speeds up a mountain. Finn and Jake use their dream powers to chase after the worm, and once they reach the top of the mountain, they find it frozen, and they both take advantage of this by grabbing a rock and smashing the worm, ending the dream. However, Finn notices some inconsistencies within reality, with Jake attributing it to dream residue. Finn then realizes that Jake pinched him to make sure that he was real, but he didn't do it to him, causing Jake to back away. but Finn manages to pinch him, causing Jake's skin to melt away, and Finn truly realizes that he's still dreaming. From the remains of Jake's skin sprouts King Worm, who taunts Finn and says that all his life energy would be absorbed by him and he would never get out. Finn tries to think, but ultimately his mood sours and he despairs, realizing that he would be stuck in this dream forever. With his anxieties flared, a chunk of the ceiling hits King Worm. Dream Jake then tells Finn again that fear messes up the dreamscape, causing Finn to face his greatest fears: the ocean, the lich, the fear of being too young, the ghost lady from the creeps, and a clown, causing the dreamscape to break and King Worm to leave a withered shell of his former self, with the episode ending with Finn pinching Jake to verify that he's real. With that brief understanding out of the way, let us discuss why this episode is in fact one of Adventure Time's most surrealist episodes. For one, let us start by what we see visually. For example, like Inception, there's an indicator to whether or not reality is real, except it's not a spinning top, but rather Finn's hat, with the nubs appearing more taller, somewhat looking rabbit-like, kind of evoking the image of the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Not to mention that the worm's color scheme looks reminiscent of the caterpillars from Alice in Wonderland as well. And that's not even mentioning all the gags presented throughout the episode, the random speeding up and down, things popping out of nowhere, the visual distortion of the world. I think if I were to compare it to anything, I would say the movie Cool World comes to mind, with how the random stuff is just littering the screen, with both of these showcasing the chaotic nature of the world. On an unrelated note, due to this episode, some fans speculate that everything before it doesn't matter, and I don't mean that in a Nietzschean sense of the word, but rather Finn and Jake encountered the worm previously appearing in the ending of the episode, Evicted, meaning that every story that happened from then to now never happened. Honestly, I just think that's kind of stupid in terms of world building, narrative, and character arcs, because why have a story where the middle doesn't matter? This ain't Naruto, you just can't spawn filler. Overall, I think this episode really did a great job of exploring the frenetic natures of dreams, showing how the characters interact with this fake world that doesn't make any sense, just finding themselves going further down and down the rabbit hole. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you want to hear more theories or other similar content like this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Peace.